What if we told you you were about to be fired next year? Bank of America estimates the U.S. economy will start losing 175,000 jobs per month in 2023, with unemployment to peak at 5.5%. Think about it. 5% of the able workforce will be out of a job as we're headed into one of the longest expected recessions caused by both the printing of money and the fight with inflation. There's no way out of this, so you have to be ready. Here are 15 radical changes to the future of work. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1. Bullshit jobs are shutting down. Meta just fired 11,000 people. 7,500 people were fired in Elon's takeover of Twitter. We're slowly moving into the age of utility. No more wasting time on the company's dime. You've seen the videos of people doing 1 hour of work and the rest moving around the cafeteria or playing ping pong. A business is not a frat house. Companies are being forced to reevaluate the performance of their employees. If you're not profitable, you're not going to be around. The only sector safe from this seems to be the government. That's always late to the party. Number 2. All but creative work will be remote. There are some things you still need to do in person. There's value in creative people coming together and riffing off one another. The factory of the future will only have a man and a dog. There'll be a man there to feed the dog, and the dog will be there to keep the man away from the machines. Mass workers are being automated. The transportation industry as a whole is about to be fully disrupted. And as with most automated jobs, you'll have a few people overseeing the thousands of Autobots set in motion and maybe a few engineers to be on the ground in case of emergencies and maintenance. Everything else will be remote. The best thing is, the oversight of a delivery truck can be done by a remote team in Asia that costs a fraction of what locals would need to cover the cost of living in the US. You don't realize this, but the only people left on the ground will be the elite performers. The military is always at the forefront of societal movements. You used to have thousands of soldiers on the ground, then a few hundred in tanks and airplanes, but now you have people in towers remote controlling drones. The only soldiers left are super specialized like Navy SEALs. They're there for specific situations where automation wouldn't be effective, but more on automation at number 8. Number 3. Online means everyone now has access to the same job prospects. You don't realize how privileged you are from a geographical perspective. If you think people south of the border are stealing your jobs, just wait until the rest of the planet has access to the same job posting as you do, and they will do it better, will put in more hours, and all for less money. The more you think about it, there's really nothing special about the average office worker that justifies their position in the company. Hybrid work models or fully remote means as a company you want to hire the best person for the job. It doesn't matter if that person is from Bengaluru, Cluj, or Nairobi, and they're coming after those high-paying jobs first. Everything tech, everything design, online medical diagnosis, and even your yearly accounting tax prep will be done by someone who takes the time and keeps up with the latest changes. High-end education is being democratized, and the walls elite society have struggled to maintain are crumbling down. Everyone who's got the brains and willing to put in the work will be able to have a Harvard or MIT degree because they'll get their certifications online. Number 4. You will become a company of one. Long gone are the days of a career at the same company for your entire life. Pretty soon, you won't have a single position. Once the masses realize they can incorporate, use their homes as a home office, and deduct most of their bills, equipment, and utilities as business expenses, more people will mature from a financial perspective. Accounting software is becoming smarter and smarter. They integrate directly with your spending. Plug-and-play, business-in-a-box solutions are becoming more and more common. Businesses play by a different set of rules than employees, so why wouldn't you become one? Number 5. Even high-quality work will be freelanced. When you think about freelancers, you picture someone designing a logo or writing some copy for your website, but that's no longer the case. We're witnessing a work renaissance in terms of the flexibility of talent. People don't want to be chained down, especially the really valuable ones. Pretty soon, executive-level talent will be booked as freelancers. You will pay $50,000 a month to someone who will only join your product launch for 3 months because of their expertise. They'll get 1 to 2 jobs done, then turn off the Available for Work button and spend the rest of the year with their family traveling the world. The biggest shift we're seeing next year is people fully embracing the freelancer lifestyle, and we want to help. Some of you might have been playing around with the idea of freelancing for a while others are already seasoned freelancers by this point. And we built something amazing for you. We call it Freelance Mastery, and it becomes available today at Alux.com/freelance. This is your sign to become a freelancer, or at least add a second stream of income to your household. This is perfect for someone who's been waiting for the right opportunity to make a change, and now is the perfect time. In the course, you'll go from fundamentals to going pro and becoming a viable business. In the private mastermind group, our team will address your specific needs and hold your hand along the way, even months from now. And as a special bonus to those enrolling in the course right now, you'll be joining the bonus live training sessions at the end of the month. Our guarantee is simple. If you don't make the money you paid for this course from freelancing, we'll give you all your money back, no questions asked. It's a no-brainer. We're only opening the doors for 7 days, and then you'll be left wishing you got in. This is your shot at the new thing you were waiting for. Go to Alux.com/freelance right now. Even better, use the promo code ALUXER and you'll get 25% off at checkout. We can't wait to help you become a company of one. Number 6. You will either be paid by the second or by project completion. The reason why this hasn't happened yet is because of technical barriers. Real-time microtransactions are something that are only now becoming viable. Instead of charging by the hour, you could charge by the minute or even by the second, and money will be deposited into your account in real time. We call this concept streaming money. Imagine paying for your parking based on how many minutes you've been there instead of them automatically rounding up on the plus side. Web-wise, you'll load up your wallet with $5 to $10 and you'll browse the internet free of ads and cookies, where for every page you visit, a microtransaction will take place where you pay a few pennies per time spent, which will entice actual quality to be published and loyalized. If you're a tutor, an entertainer, a coach, a motivational speaker, a programmer, and you're streaming value in real time, you should be paid for that. Or instead of paying a cashier a flat fee, they could be paid based on the number of customers they process. In the case of grocery stores, you could be paid a few cents for every product you scan on that day, or how many tables you serve as a waiter. The goal is to transition to pay by completion in one form or another, where the outcome is agreed upon by both parties. Payment by the hour doesn't always make sense, especially when it comes to quality work, because it punishes those who know what they're doing and can do it fast. Why should a professional be paid half because they can get the job done in half the time? So in the future, you'll find a freelancer, tell them your goal, for example, to increase the retention of a customer by 30%, and in exchange, you'll pay them X amount of money. It'll be tied to a smart contract, and when this retention hits plus 30%, the payment is automatically released regardless of how long it takes the freelancer to do it. Now, this can be broken down into milestones as well, so that the money is automatically released when retention improves by 10%, 20%, etc. How cool would that be? Number 7. Your intellectual work will generate passive income. A big problem workers face is they don't get any residual revenue after they deliver their work. Sure, there are industries like books, music, and film where you can negotiate a royalty every time your work is monetized, but that's pretty much where things stop. But here's what's about to happen. Let's say you're an incredible architect and have built one of the most beautiful houses ever built. You put it on the market and sell it, but since the ownership title is not embedded into a smart contract, you can stipulate that 1 to 2% of all resales in perpetuity are to be paid to your family. People will be able to cash in on royalties for all sorts of work depending on how contracts are structured. A freelancer might not want to accept a gig if there's no residual income. And this goes for every piece of content you create on the internet. If one of your photos is used anywhere for commercial purposes, you won't have to hire a lawyer and go through all the legal headaches to get paid. This would basically solve the music artists' problem on platforms like TikTok or Reels, where creators are using music without explicit rights. Number 8. The middle class will be automated first. You might think the ugly and messy jobs would be the ones humanity wants to move away from, but that's not the case. These are usually hard to automate and not as much money revolves around them. The economic incentive is to automate the accountants, the lawyers, the doctors. These are repetitive tasks that require extensive and updated knowledge on a specific field, and bots thrive in that kind of environment. A doctor goes to school for 10 years. They learn from books and case studies, and their knowledge gets compounded by what they see in their own practice. But a robot doctor can know every single case in human history and learn as a hive. So their expertise growth is exponential versus linear in humans. And before you call this science fiction, these automated medical professionals have been out there for years and are crushing humans at it. If doctors and diagnosticians can be automated, well, truck drivers and office managers barely stand a chance. And as for the ugly jobs, reality can be quite grim. People will be exploited to do things that are too dangerous, too dirty, or expensive to automate, and that is until their time comes. Number 9. UBI won't save you. We've got a hot take on universal basic income. We don't believe it's going to be a thing, and if it does indeed become real, it will be the fall of society. Now, ideologically, it sounds great you won't have to work to be able to support yourself, but not everybody is the same. Should millionaires and billionaires receive UBI? Do they need it? No, probably not. So now you're selecting who gets it and who doesn't, and that's kind of like welfare with extra steps. Basically, UBI would only apply to those who need it, so the poor. Now, if the middle class gets it, it'll simply cause even more inflation. The price of goods and services will adjust, the same way it did after all those stimulus checks were sent out. And then not only are you back to square one, but you've just made the poor even poorer because now it's even more expensive to survive. So then the UBI needs to be increased again, and you get the point. We worry about it from a societal impact perspective. Take a moment to think about the government. Now, the moment people can vote to give themselves more money, it becomes a financial spiral of hell. The bottom 51% will simply elect the people who offer them more money, and now we're in a perpetual race for who promises more and more money for free. Sure, definitely help those in need, but there's a thin line between survival and personal responsibility. When you reward people for doing nothing, you're stealing from those who are creating value. Number 10. Your online presence is now your CV. As of right now, your online activity isn't private. Companies already scrape the internet to find every one of your touch points just to make sure they don't become liable for something you said or did in the past. This has become increasingly present in the days of cancel culture. All the work you've done will be tracked back to you. With the push of a keyboard key, anyone qualified will have access to all the work you've done in the open market. If you've worked on a marketing campaign, your rights and efforts should be visible and measurable. This translates our economic society into one of transparency and efficiency, where talent rises to the top meritocratically. If you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, or even 40s, we urge you to take your online activity a lot more seriously. Start building in public. Not only will this keep you accountable, but it will also document in real time your ability to perform. You will be hired based on what you showcase you can do, not on what you say you're able to do. That's why CVs, as we know them, are becoming obsolete. In Freelance Mastery, we have an entire chapter dedicated to building your portfolio. The do's, the don'ts, and how to position yourself strategically by creating content around what you're passionate about. Go to Alux.com/freelance right now and learn how to build in public for the age we live in. Number 11. No code, no talent jobs are coming. Here's a brutal truth. You are paid based on your ability to use the tools of the trade. The farmer with a modern tractor will always beat the farmer who does it all by hand. Information decreases in value based on how many people hold it. An example we give in the course is standing out of the crowd by leveraging new tech. If you're the only videographer applying for a job that owns a drone and the drone footage will improve the outcome, you're probably going to get the job. Differentiate yourself through new tech. You no longer need to write code. Platforms like Shopify and the rest will allow you to build amazing websites by dragging and dropping. You no longer need to learn extensive editing software when Figma and Canva are taking over the ease of use. DALL-E and Midjourney are generating creative assets on demand. Everything complicated is becoming user-friendly. When everyone has access to the same tools, the difference will be made by those willing to put in a little more effort in the quality of their work. Number 12. Climate will cause mass migration from the equator toward the poles during the summer months. Climate change is real, but how exactly will that affect you? Well, for starters, generally cold countries will see a boom in transit and tourism. People are slowly moving up north or are looking for a secondary home to spend time in, especially during the summer months when down south gets really, really hot. We've already seen this type of behavior in action, but on the flip side of the coin, during the winter months, people move to Florida for the nice weather, especially through periods of time where temperatures will get extremely hot. Since most of you will probably be working as freelancers anyway, you'd want to enjoy the best possible weather at all times in the year. You'll spend your summers near the mountains, winters near the ocean or deserts, and the rest of the year wherever you want. And speaking of moving around, Number 13. You will change fiscal residencies to keep more of your money. At one point, you'll realize how much of your hard-earned money goes to a government that isn't aligned with your priorities. If 50 years ago simply traveling to another country was a really big deal, but now it's becoming something we do all the time, we're seeing the same thing happen with finance. Especially the younger generation realizes that they can switch fiscal residences and get to keep more of their earnings without sacrificing their lifestyle. In most cases, actually improving them. Younger demographics are not betting on retirement. Instead, they need money now. So instead of paying 45% of all you earn to the state, they would rather invest in income-generating assets and build wealth instead. Puerto Rico, Dubai, Portugal, Romania, Singapore, Cayman, the list goes on and on. A while back, we did a video on countries with the lowest tax rates, so click in the top right corner for that one. Before you know it, you'll realize there's substantial value in moving 6 months of the year to somewhere where you don't have to struggle to survive. Number 14. You will probably end up working 50% longer than previous generations. The average person enters the workforce around age 25 and retires around age 65. That's 40 years in the market. That's how it is and how it's been, at least in modern history. But we're making rapid progress in curing diseases, or at least keeping old people alive for longer than ever before. Some say the future of work is a 60-year career. Humans may soon be living to 100 on average, which likely means more years on the job. You'll start working sooner, maybe around 20 years old, and you'll retire only when you hit 80 years old. Even today, those who retire at 65 still often return to work as independent contractors, so the idea isn't that far-fetched. Couple that with the explosion in property prices, and you might need an additional 10 years of hard work just to pay the same mortgage that only took 30 years to cover before. Given the opportunity, governments will drain the population for as much productivity as they can unless you escape the need for money. Number 15. Wealth will move from labor to capital. And this has already begun. When you're poor or in the middle class, you trade your time to make money. There's an increasing class of wealthy individuals that have moved post-work and they simply leverage capital to generate more money. The phrase, "it takes money to make money," only makes sense if you have enough money to make a difference. So we're in a capital marketplace right now. You simply find existing businesses that are profitable, inject them with your capital, and they'll give you a percentage of their earnings. If you're in the low-effort, high-return market, getting yourself enough capital is adamant. There's a path to prosperity that requires a constant adjustment in your positioning. You start with an employee mindset, then you manage people, then you become a business owner, and then you become a capital investor. Workers and freelancers have usually thought of themselves as employees for temporary hire. The smarter ones are behaving like project managers by outsourcing a portion of the work to other freelancers that still have the employee mindset. The best ones have seen the potential of becoming a viable business and creating agencies, but very few have reached the final stage of maturity. Our goal with Freelance Mastery is to help you progress on that line, and in that process, you get more and more money and more freedom. And as a thank you for watching until the very end, you're getting a secret bonus. People are using overemployment as a financial hack. This is one of those things we've noticed that falls in a gray area. Basically, you have a full-time job that pays you a consistent salary. On top of that, you freelance your skills on the open market to a level where you more than double your income. Since you're still delivering your deadlines at work, there isn't much the company has to say about how you spend the rest of your time. Realistically, people are not actively working 8 hours a day when they're working from home. It's more like 1 to 2 hours of work, and the rest of the time they're listening to podcasts, browsing Reddit, and watching Alux videos on YouTube. You probably won't be able to work 2 or more jobs if the company size is small, since startups, for example, require you to wear multiple hats and be actively involved in the day-to-day operations. But if you're working for a multinational, well, it's easy to get your work done in 1 to 2 days per week and use the rest to get a second job. We've seen people use this strategy to get enough money to start their own business or to solidify their investments. We know someone who's earning over $1 million per year in salaries as he's working 5 jobs at the same time in the tech space. He's automated most of his workflow, and 3 of the 5 are full-time positions where the company only cares about the end result. The other 2, he acts more like a consultant where he's paid based on projects delivered. What you don't realize is you can easily double your income if you position yourself as a consultant instead of an employee. Consultant is just a fancy way of saying higher-level freelancer. It won't hurt interviewing from a consultant position just to see what you can get outside of your current work. It might be time for a career change, and we want to help you get there. Since you're a true Aluxer and you've watched the video up until this point, go to Alux.com/freelance and use the promo code TRUE for $100 off the course price. This $100 is our gift to you, and we really hope you find the course valuable. We want you to be happy, healthy, and fulfilled, but in order to do that, let's get you rich first. If you're ready for this new future and ready to think of yourself as a company of one, write the word "one" in the comments. Let's see how many of you made it to the very end. Thanks for spending some of your valuable time with us today, Alux. We're so glad you did. If you enjoyed this one, please give us a like, hit that bell icon to never miss an upload, and hey, don't forget to subscribe.